Hello, everyone. Well, it's June the 28th, the end of the day report. So today was another great day. Pilgrimage is coming to a close. Last day is tomorrow. I knew it would be a whirlwind, and sure enough, it's been a whirlwind. But it's been such a blessing. It's hard to put into words. So today, we made our way to the Jordan River, where our Lord was baptized by John the Baptist. So, and we had the opportunity there to renew our baptismal vows. That's, a typical thing that's done there. There's still a lot of baptisms that take place. There's actually a group there. You'll see some of them if you watch the videos posted on Instagram or Facebook, YouTube as well. I'm not sure where they were from, if they were from the States or from a country in Africa. But they were there and they were baptizing each other. So, again, it's just to live in the historical, be in the historical reality of the Jordan River. Think about that's where, not maybe that at that specific place, but the Jordan River is what Joshua, what the people of Israel crossed into the Promised Land. And it's a fairly lush area. It was hot though, man, oh man, it was hot. So we went from the Jordan River to, let's see here, I'm actually consulting my schedule so that I can remember it all. You feel like you're drinking from a water hose, actually from a fire hydrant, not from a water, from water or a hose, but from a fire hydrant. There's so much happening. And today just seemed to be a lot hotter, especially when we'll get to the last place we visited in a minute. So after that, we went to offer Mass at the Church of the Good Shepherd, and that was beautiful. We were in Jericho. That was in Jericho, of course. Now, Jericho is, these, in Canada and America, our countries are like the snowflake on the tip of an iceberg compared to Jericho. Jericho is the oldest city as far as, if I heard correctly, the oldest city in the world. 10,000 years old. I'll say that again, 10,000 years old. This is like, we're talking history, serious history, right? So, now obviously it's in some ways it's modernized, in other ways it's just Jericho. So we visited Jericho and we had a lunch there, which was quite nice. The local food is very good. It's different, from our food, but it's very good. So we went from Jericho. We stopped just briefly and saw an ancient sycamore tree. You remember Zacchaeus? So we saw an ancient sycamore tree. That wasn't a very long stop. And then we also stopped on the way and saw off in the distance, we didn't go there, but we stopped and saw the Mount of Temptation, where Jesus, remember, he was tempted by the devil, allowed himself to be tempted by the devil, turn stones into bread, worship me, and, fly off the temple and so on. So we didn't, as I said, we didn't go up there, but, just again to see the place. It was an actual place where Jesus was tempted by the devil. So we saw that, and then we had, it was a fascinating visit to the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is kind of tragic in that it really is disappearing. I don't know how long it's going to last. I didn't go in, but I went near the shore, got a picture of it, so you'll see that in an Instagram and Facebook. It can't be on YouTube because it's a picture. But man, oh man, it was hot there. Whew. Not everybody in the group went in, but most of them went in. And you really do, because of all the salt concentration, you sit down on the lake or the sea. You sit down on it. And you cannot go in your stomach. This is not good. You cannot splash. You don't want it getting in your mouth or in your eyes because this stuff burns. You literally float on the water. And then everybody says the same thing when they get out, if they feel oily. But it's apparently got some temporary rejuvenating characteristics. So, again, it was just, and off in the distance, from the Dead Sea. Sorry, I'm backing, I have to back up and talk about Qumran. So, because the Dead Sea was the last thing we saw. So we went to Qumran, which, for a lot of us average Joes and Marys, as it were, maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, but Qumran is actually a pretty important place. It was probably the third biggest group of people in the New Testament. The Pharisees, the Sadducees. What's really not talked about are the Essenes, but it was a huge monastic movement. And probably that's where John the Baptist came from, and perhaps even John Mark, who wrote the Gospel of Mark. And there's, definite clues even in the Gospel. So what's fascinating is that, this was a monastic community. They lived by the Dead Sea, and they lived in community, but they also went and would be in caves all night long and just live in isolation. And they're the ones who preserved the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are probably the greatest archaeological discovery in the last century. If it wasn't for them, these things would have been lost. So, and I think shortly after they put the scrolls in there, the Roman legions basically either wiped them out or chased them out. So, it was fascinating to see this, the ruins of this community of Essenes. And then we went to the Dead Sea. And then, but from the Essenes, you could actually see off in the distance Mount Negeb, which is where Moses actually, Moses was actually up there, and that's where he went and God showed him the promised land. Again, like Moses was actually there, how many thousands of years ago? Seven, I'd have to count, be conscientious here, 4 or 5, 3,000 years ago. Moses was up there in that mountain. Again, Jesus was up there in that mountain, allowing himself to be tempted by the devil. And then after the Dead Sea, we came home. We were all pretty bushed after that. So I hope you find in some ways this interesting. It was certainly a fascinating day. Lots of, again, rich culture. And, it's always the center of every day is the Mass. There's no doubt about it. To offer the sacrifice of the Mass. So God bless you. And yes, tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'll be able to post it because we're going to do some things in the morning, but we're going to then, when the day is done, we're going to head to the airport. So I may do this at the airport. We'll see. God bless you.